This has been a wild 2 months in terms of new releases that are coming out of major labels from Nashville. Everything from Riley Green to John Party to Midland to the Highwaymen to the Zac Brown Band record to Hardy. All these huge releases have demanded attention. When albums are selling the amount that these are selling and when they're mainstream and a lot of people can participate in the conversation, that's often the times that I am most motivated to make a video because I like things that we can all share and talk about together. But I also understand that the musical sensibility of a lot of people on this channel is not that mainstream. A lot of people have said, I'm done with what Nashville is putting out. I'm done with Music Row. I don't trust them. They don't make the music that I like anymore. And there's all this other music that I can find that isn't trying so hard to be mass appealing. It's just awesome. And when I look at the comments of my videos, other than just seeing the inevitable comment that I look like Dierks Bentley, which is always flattering to read, I always see things like, have you heard of Colter Wall? Or, hey, do you know anything about this guy named Cody Jinks? And the answer is, yeah, I just sometimes try to use new releases as my springboard to talk about some of these things. And these artists aren't always on a new album or in the middle of a cycle of promotion where I feel like it makes sense to peg a video to them. But given how much the channel has grown recently, and given how many new people are watching my videos, I thought it would be cool to collect the sort of top tier, most significant, most talked about independent country artists of our modern time into one video. Some of these artists might call themselves Americana or alt country or indie country or folk or whatever, but these are the people that I would say are the biggest, most important in the country music conversation, independent country artists right now. I'm going to call it the Avengers of independent country music. I'm going to talk about each artist and assign them one of the Avengers if I can remember all their names. And I'm not making this video to just shit on the labels. I'm really not. There are people like Casey Musgraves and Chris Stapleton and Eric Church and Ashley McBride that we all view as really helping the cause of country music, of making great stuff and helping turn the tide away from the Snaptrack bro stuff that we don't like. And that's coming out of major labels. That top shelf stuff is coming out of Music Row. So this isn't hating on Nashville. It's just saying there's a big world out there. The first one I gotta talk about is Jason Isbell.
The fragile heart you've protected for so long. Oh, the mercy and
Jason Isbell is kind of, I'd say, like the uncle, dad figure of the independent country music scene. He definitely has embraced the term Americana ever since his album Southeastern, which was really the awakening album for me into this world outside of radio country. I've been flabbergasted about his songwriting quality. I mean, you hear a song like Elephant, or you hear a song like Cumberland Gap, or 24 Frames, and he has a way of being blisteringly honest with a few words. I would say Jason Isbell is our Iron Man of all this. He's kind of our godfather of the indie country scene. Next up, we got Sturgill Simpson.
Met the devil in Seattle, spent 9 months inside.
Now, Sturgill came out of Kentucky, and he made this album High Top Mountain that blew up in 2013. He was one of these guys that Dave Cobb found. And Sturgill has definitely veered away from country music as his career has gone on. It's gotten a lot more cosmic, and psychedelic and rocking. In some ways, you get the sense that all of the people that claimed that Sturgill was the savior of country music and bringing back this very almost like Merle / Waylon sound and a real snarl to his vocals, you get the sense he maybe a little bit resented that, and so just out of an artistic middle finger to the world, he has decided to veer away from country music to avoid being sort of shoehorned into that role. There's a real intellectualism to Sturgill's lyrics and a real absurdity too. He's often singing about drugs and sort of realizations about love and the universe, and then he's also being extremely self-deprecating. He has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, or a lot of a chip on his shoulder, kind of taking the piss out of himself. He says, I'm the king of shit mountain and you can have the crown. He takes the piss out of the media, even on his newest record, which is not a country record at all, but it's interesting. It's like got an anime film that goes with it. But I think that gives Sturgill his edge. It makes it fun. He's dramatic. He busked outside of the CMA Awards with his Grammy in his case, which he wasn't nominated for any CMAs, but he'd been nominated for a Grammy. He creates controversy. He keeps things interesting, and he's wild. I guess he's Loki. I guess he's Loki, because you never quite know if you can trust him or not, or what he's doing, or is he trolling. Yeah, I'll give him Loki. Then we got Tyler Childers.
Trap line in the winter keeps line wet.
Now, Tyler Childers was really Sturgill's protege in some ways. Sturgill's been producing his albums. He also comes out of Kentucky. And much like Sturgill, he broke out with this kind of acoustic sound and this super compelling voice. I think that Tyler has a little more holler and a little more yelp in his voice, whereas Sturgill has a little more snarl. But Tyler's got an incredible voice. I love when he says, "Lick it." And he's now in the process of becoming a real mainstream kind of modern outlaw. He's becoming a big star. He just sold out Red Rocks, and he has a legion of fans. So it's going to be interesting to watch where he goes from here. I'm going to say that Tyler is our... what Avenger is he? I'm going to say that Tyler is Doctor Strange, because I get the sense that he's very heady and likes his psychedelics and likes psychedelic imagery, and it just reminds me of Benedict Cumberbatch a little bit. Then we got Colter Wall.
Every day I'd save a quarter of my pay.
Colter Wall I actually have covered on this channel before in one old album roundup from last year. That was my introduction to him, and I was blown away that this Canadian guy with the deepest voice I could imagine. I mean, you'll get real Johnny Cash storyteller voice out of Colter Wall. I was shocked to learn he was in his 20s, because I kid you not, he sounds like he's in his 80s. And it's so interesting when you realize he's young, because it flips your whole perspective on Colter, and it makes his voice one that is so compelling. It's kind of dark and mysterious. It's very good for delivering songs like Wild Dogs, and there's something very plain spoken about Colter Wall's music. And I mean, Plain to See Plainsman is one of the songs on that album, and I remember it just feeling really patient in its sound. Colter is one of many of these indie country guys that has scored a celebrity fan. I didn't even mention it with Tyler Childers, but Joe Rogan has really gotten behind both Tyler and Sturgill. Jason Momoa has been a major supporter of Colter Wall, which is really fascinating. If I had to assign an Avenger to Colter Wall, it would have to be who's cold, who's like as cold as Saskatchewan. The Winter Soldier, it would be Bucky Barnes. It would be the Winter Soldier, if only because it's cold in Canada. Next one we gotta mention is Cody Jinks.
But I'm not the devil you think that I am.
Cody Jinks is someone that I discovered through another big celebrity endorser, this one, The Rock, who really champions his music. But Cody Jinks, as one of these guys coming out of the Texas scene with a big old beard, I get him and like Ward Davis and a lot of these guys a little bit mixed up sometimes. But now that I know Cody's music, I never mistake it. Cody Jinks makes music that is really about his soul and about the fact that he is good and trying to be good and yet bad and trying to reconcile this duality within himself. Even all the songs he's been releasing from his upcoming 2 albums have been about almost like, as a Christian, how am I doing these bad things? How do I think what I think and drink like I drink? Or which side of myself do I feed? He's really drawn to songs about his own craziness, and to me it's some of the most compelling music. He's got an excellent voice with a bit of gravel in it, and I just feel like you can't listen to songs like Headcase or Stranger and not be completely drawn into this sort of tortured soul thing that he has going on. Partly because of his beard and partly because of Thor and how he goes through a whole identity crisis in the Avengers movies. I gotta say that Cody is Thor. And he's reluctant to be the man that he knows he could be, and sometimes has to talk himself into rising to the occasion. Another band that you gotta mention in this would be the Turnpike Troubadours.
You can have a nickel out of my last dime. The moon is bright, you're alright down here.
Turnpike is probably the single most beloved band out of the red dirt scene. They come from Oklahoma, and the songwriting displayed in their music, delivered by Evan Felker, who's written most of their songs, along with just their sheer musicality, has made them an incredibly beloved band. I think they capture a lot of the shades of life, whether that's self-loathing, whether that is friendship on a song like Down Here, whether that is love or The One That Got Away. You really do get a diverse set of emotions and really the struggle of life captured in their music. And you also get a lot of hooky melodies. I mean, they have a real pop sensibility about them, even though they're this big honky-tonker of a red dirt band. They're also amazing live and have accrued an incredibly loyal fan base. And that fan base is really struggling right now, as the Turnpike Troubadours are struggling right now. They're on hiatus, and while they haven't addressed it super directly. All signs point to this being a chance for Evan Felker to face some personal demons of addiction and try and get back on track. We're all pulling for the Turnpike Troubadours. We all want them to come back. I'll give them the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're a quirky bunch, and we all want the best for them. And they're kind of with the Avengers, but who knows what their future is. Aaron Watson is a guy that I have talked about on this channel quite a bit. He is probably the superstar in Texas.
And today he joined up with Jesus, fair and shiny pearl snaps.
Aaron is a crowd pleaser. He makes music that is very country, that is appealing for families, that's sometimes sexy. He doesn't tackle a lot of big political subjects in his songs. They're going to be more about unity and love and fun party times, but the music's always quality. He really cares about instrumentation. His new album, Red Bandana, is quite an opus where he's getting more personal than he ever has been. He's fairly outspoken about his faith, and all in all, he's just sort of this very well-to-do, well-respected, and huge artist in the Texas scene. So I gotta say that Aaron Watson is probably Captain America. That's an easy one. Jamie Lin Wilson is another person in the Texas scene, and she has really become the queen of the Texas country scene.
When it really hits the fan, do you still try to understand, or do you paint him in a corner till he's crawling up the wall?
The way that Jamie Lin Wilson writes actually reminds me a lot of why Loretta Lynn was so popular, making these sort of very offhand, matter-of-fact statements about life, marriage, drinking, death, aging, small towns. Jamie Lin Wilson has such an honesty to the way that she writes and a real clarity in her voice. She delivers things with a conviction that doesn't feel so forced or like she's trying to belt anything at you. When she belts, it's because the music calls for it. I just am so impressed always with Jamie Lin Wilson. And although I've never gotten the chance to see her live, I know that she is so respected as a live performer as well. So obviously she's got to be Black Widow in this situation as kind of my main girl in this mix. Now, there's a bunch more that we could do in these, but I gotta wrap up this video at some point. I'm gonna say Cody Johnson should be in this mix maybe, even though now he's got a major label distributing him. He's been indie all along. He's our rodeo guy from Texas, a big old voice. He's gotta be Hawkeye. He's kind of straight down the middle, but has a dark side to him. Margot Price, she should be in this conversation. She's our feminist, pay gap fighting, down to earth country gal. She's gotta be Captain Marvel. Lindy Ortega, another one of these people I found in 2013, adore her. She's Canadian, real sort of creepy and dark, but has this willowy voice, and it's this awesome mix of dark and light, hope and weirdness. She's the witch one, Wanda. Scarlet Witch. Lindy is Scarlet Witch. Am I forgetting a main character? The Hulk. The Hulk? Okay, well now I don't have anyone for the Hulk. So it will be The Rock, since he introduced me to Cody Jinks. The Rock is the Hulk. One of my dreams on this channel is to have The Rock on here and to talk country music with him. Just saying that, I'm just gonna put that out into the world because I really respect him and his music taste, and I'm thankful he turned me on to Cody Jinks, and I know he has a property in Virginia, so like, I'll make the trek to you, Rock. Sir Rock. Oh, and then I guess there's Spider-Man. He's still in the MCU, isn't he? Spider-Man should be Daniel Donato. Daniel Donato is a really young guy that is so respected in the live scene in Nashville. And if you don't follow him on Instagram, you're missing out on some very fun content. He does kind of interviews and weird, like, cosmic country covers. He's so fascinating. Everyone respects him. So he's got to be Spider-Man in this mix. And then Thanos? I don't know who Thanos is. I guess it's Scooter Braun now. I feel like he bought Big Machine and put the Infinity Stone in and was like, yes, the power of Nashville. So we'll call Scooter Braun Thanos. That's a safe one. That won't get me too many enemies. Somewhere I wish I'd included American Aquarium because I adore American Aquarium. Same with Lori McKenna. Lori McKenna can be Eye Patch, Nick Fury. And I don't know where to put American Aquarium because I used all the Avengers I can think of off the top of my head. What a weird video. I hope this is fun for you all. But let me know who your independent country music Avengers would be if you had to assign them. Let me know what you think of my picks. I don't know. I just thought this would be a funny video. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. You tell me. All right, guys. Peace.